One, two, one, two. Happy Sunday, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Come one, come all. Pull up a chair, make yourself comfortable for another exciting episode of Sunday Night Smoke Podcast. I am your host, Ace World, in the place. And I have my lovely co host, T Roney, in the building. What's up, T Roney?
Hi, hello, everyone. How you doing, Ace?
Chilling. What's good? What it do, ma? How you? How was your weekend? Let's do this traditional thing. How was your weekend? How was it going?
Weekend going. It's Sunday. I can't believe it's Sunday. Went by very fast. I will say indeed, very fast. How about you?
Oh, good. Maybe that's because Sunday is your favorite day of the week. You know what I'm saying? But as far as I'm concerned, everything was smooth, business as usual. Just nice and smooth. You know how I do it. Nice and smooth. So nothing new. The weather is a little crappy, but we're just gonna handle it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna handle it, and we're just gonna keep everything rolling. So let's see what we got in the bag this week for all.
Yeah, let's see. Tell us about this.
We have close encounters, sleeping with coworkers. Is it a good idea or a bad idea? You're gonna learn today.
Drama.
Yes, with that in mind, we're gonna let's see. We're gonna roll into this is it's a serious topic. It's a good topic because it happens. You know what I mean? It's pretty much everyday type of life thing where you if you're working say 40 hours a week or even 20 hours a week or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're working full-time hours, a lot of times you'll what's the word I'm looking for? You'll spend more time at work pretty much than possibly with your own family, right? So with
Yeah.
that being said, you may grow an attraction to another person on the job. Okay. You know what I'm saying? The work husband, the work wife, all that. So things can get a little you can become what's the word I'm looking for? Because I'm trying to figure out how to word this and keep it quote unquote kosher, as my man Eric Swartz would say. We're gonna keep this kosher for as long as possible before it just gets to where we got to go. But you could develop feelings for another person, possibly if you're
Right.
in a relationship and you're spending 40 hours a week together and you're working closely with someone else, right? But
Yeah.
in the event you do, right, this young lady right here has 6 rules for
Six
dating
rules.
coworkers,
Okay.
right? So I guess this could be let's see, on a on a biggie level. This right here is like I guess
And crack
this is
commandments.
this is the modern chick version of the 10 crack commandments. So let's hold on, let's run into this real quick and see what she's talking about. Then we'll invite some people up and we'll have a quick monologue, and we'll invite some people up and we're gonna talk about this. All right. How about that? Sounds good? Let's go.
You've been flirting with a coworker for months, and it seems like they're totally into you too. Which leads you to the question, is dating coworkers okay when you're also trying to succeed in your career? Hello and welcome back to my channel where I help you slay your career and cultivate the successful life that you want. Now, if you've just come across my channel for the first time, first of all, welcome. And second, you probably landed on this video because maybe you've been flirting with someone at work and he's pretty cute and he kind of seems into you and you're wondering if it's okay for you to date a coworker. And while there's obvious pros and cons to dating someone that you work with, in today's video, that's not going to be my focus. In today's video, what I actually want to give you is the parameters for you to actually date someone that you work with. Yes, contrary to what most career strategists will tell you, I actually don't think that dating is totally off limits at work. But before you do jump into a relationship with a colleague, I want to give you 6 guidelines to help you not only continue to thrive at work while you're in a relationship, but if things go sideways to hopefully mitigate the risk of things going really bad. If you're ready for the 6 guidelines, click that like button and let's jump right into it. Okay, first things first, totally boring, but let's get this squared away. Is there any rules that your company has about dating a colleague? Now, this is going to vary from company to company, and there might be different rules about dating someone within your department, within your team, that's sitting in different places in the corporate ladder. Maybe dating a colleague is just completely 100% forbidden. Before you actually jump into a relationship with a coworker, you need to know what this is, because the last thing that you want to do is to be having fun dating someone and then have to pick in between them and your job. Your relationship is going to be new. You're not going to know if it's going to be worth it. Your job is important. It is your source of income. Find out what the actual rule is before you begin dating a coworker. Whatever the rule is, I do in general recommend that you follow that rule. The second rule is Tinder is for hookups. The water cooler isn't. Okay, I know most modern workspaces don't actually have a water cooler, but maybe one of those cool fruit-infused ones. My point is before you jump into a relationship with someone at work, having a fling, a one-night stand, a hookup with a colleague might seem like not a terrible idea until it really is a terrible idea. Also, you especially don't want to be that person who maybe imbibes a little bit too much at a company event and ends up hooking up in front of everyone. Trust me, that girl is going to be judged. It is not fair. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's the reality. That said, if you think Steve in accounting is really cute and really sweet, and he seems like someone that you can really get along with in the long term, and he feels the same way, then it might be one that is actually worth exploring. But don't start off a relationship with a colleague if it's for hookups. There's other places to find that. Just go to one of those places. There is a saying, don't where you eat. The third rule for dating a colleague is to actually consider the power structures. What does this mean? It means that if you have someone reporting directly to you, you cannot date them. If you have a massive crush on your manager, you should not date them. I even question, and I know that this happens in big companies, but it doesn't sit well with me, where a very senior person dates a very not senior person. It just creates this power imbalance. It can create a lot of misperceptions about the relationship and who's in it for what now, which obviously you both want to avoid. So this is really keeping the best of intentions out for both of you. Now, one of the things that I actually think has been one of the biggest benefits about the discussion surrounding appropriate conduct at work is that we have started to have an open conversation about how power can influence relationships. Listen, no matter what side of the coin that you're on, you might feel and they might feel like there is a genuine relationship. However, we really can't deny that power can influence our feelings and emotions, and it might not be staging everyone for long-term success. And if you truly care about that other person, you don't want them to be in a bad situation like that. And obviously, you don't want to be in that situation either. The fourth rule is to keep it on the down low. Listen, people aren't dumb. They're going to find out. They're going to notice if something's up. Definitely are going to be the topic of gossip for a little bit, especially as people start to put together the pieces or maybe you get spotted out. Now, I don't actually think it's good if you're dating a colleague to be really secretive about it, because as I mentioned, people are going to know, trust me, they're going to know no matter how well you think you're going to hide it. Don't be dishonest about it, but also don't flaunt it. Now, there might be two people that you do want to have a conversation about the fact that you're dating a colleague, especially if it is a serious relationship. First of all, your manager. You don't want your manager to find out that you're dating a colleague from someone else on the team. You just want to mention it. Obviously, it's not going to be a big deal. You want to frame it correctly. If you're interested in that video, let me know. But you do want them to learn from you, because again, there might be these kind of other things that go on. So make sure that they're just privy to it so that they're not surprised. And they also can be a great advocate to help nip any of the gossip that might arise from your relationship with a coworker in the bud. The other person that you might need to consider having a conversation, depending on what the rules are at your company.
There's a better way to make money on Amazon than selling physical products. 3 years ago, I quit my job and using
Is human resources. Again, you want to make sure that there's no conflicts of interest or anything like that. So it might be helpful if you have a human resources person that you do work with or is available to you to have a conversation just to understand what you need to know if you are in a relationship at work. The fifth rule of dating a colleague is to keep the PDAs out of the office. No obnoxious flirting at work, no making out in front of your office. Don't address any emails honey bun or whatever your pet name is for each other. These seem pretty obvious, right? When you're at work, you need to conduct yourself like professional people. That includes not talking about anything personal. If you're in a personal fight, you need to be able to leave that at the door and still be able to function and collaborate with Steve from accounting, because Steve from accounting is still there and he's someone you need to work with. And this can be really challenging to navigate, especially if you end up in a serious long-term relationship with one of your colleagues. What about when you have a fight and you have to still work with that person? You need to draw very distinct lines between your professional selves and your work selves. And the more that you're actually able to distinguish between the two, the easier it is going to be as your relationship settles in and you go through the different stages of love, hate, and everything in between. And the sixth rule is really need to dig down and figure out, is this worth it? Now, you could end up falling madly, deeply in love. You can end up in a long-term relationship. You could end up getting married and having kids and telling them about how you met their dad over the water cooler and that you fell in love over negotiating a client deal together. The reality is that that's not where most relationships end up. And if your relationship doesn't end up there and it ends up over, what implication is that going to have at work? Are you going to be able to work with this person every day that you might have very strong feelings of some sort or another towards, that it's not going to impact in any negative way your professional performance? Think about their character, and are they someone that if you break up with them, they're going to lose their minds and start telling graphic information about you to your colleagues that they have absolutely no business knowing? You need to really weigh if this is worth it. Now, if you think that this person might be the one, then you're probably going to see it's worth it. And while the best case scenario is super fun to think about and daydream about, it's really the worst case scenario where it all goes to hell in a handbag that you need to be super cognizant about before you start dating a colleague. What's going to happen if you date for a little bit and it doesn't work out? How are you going to feel having to show up and sit in meetings with Steve from accounting if he just broke your heart? On the flip side, how is Steve going to react if you break his? And ultimately, is the risk of this relationship worth it for the fact that it might actually have implications in your professional life? You're never going to know the answer to this question firmly unless you give it a try. But it is something that you do need to weigh very seriously before you jump into a relationship with a coworker. Because if you don't, and it ends up in the worst case scenario, you can very quickly end up in a toxic workplace. And that is something that you absolutely want to avoid in your career. Now, even if you haven't dated a colleague and you've ended up in a toxic workplace, in my next video, I'm going to talk to you about signs of a toxic workplace and what to do if you're actually in one. So if that is a topic that resonates with you, do click that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you know as soon as it comes out. And I know that navigating questions like if you should date a colleague and so many other things are things that are really challenging to navigate on your own, especially if you're a super ambitious woman in a male-dominated industry. And that's exactly why I created my free Facebook community, the Strive Squad. If you'd like to join the Strive Squad, the link to do so is down below. And with that, I'd love to know, have you ever dated a colleague? How did it turn out? Do you have a love story that you can share down in the comments? Or really, now that you're over it, hilarious but cringy story about how it went sideways? I would love to know. As always, if you haven't already done so, I would greatly appreciate if this video has been helpful for you to click that like button. It does let me know that you like videos like this, and it really helps my channel.
All right. Thank you very much. Fair use, y'all. Fair use, everybody. Fair use content. Let's go. We got Eleanor Marie in the house. What's up, Eleanor? How you doing? Everything goody?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. We got Helga in the house. What's up? We rolling today. Oh, yeah. We rocking and rolling. Hey, what's up?
What's
Yeah,
up?
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
No problemo. Happy Sunday, everybody. So let's get into this. We're gonna work our way around the horn. Let's talk close encounters, sleeping with coworkers. Do you think it's appropriate? Inappropriate? We're trying to get some opinions and some feels on this. Before we get into this, I want to say, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Sunday Night Smoke Podcast, as well as everyone else on this panel. And also the phone lines are open at area code 515-602-9602. We're gonna get this popping today, y'all. Let's go. We're gonna start it off with Roni. Talk to us, Roni. Dating on the job.
I don't know. I think she hit all the buttons. She's really good.
You got
It's
experience.
the complications that come with. I mean, she wasn't for or against it. She was just like, these are the things that you're gonna have to deal with if you job. I'm 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 for dating on the job, not necessarily for it, but I'm for if you find somebody that you care for and that you like, and you can make a friend out of them, and then that friend later turns into something more, then go for it. Because especially now with coronavirus, everything's closed. You can't go to the bars, you can't hang out like you used to. So, it's harder now to date unless you do social media. And a lot of people still are not comfortable doing social media. So where else is there to go? But I think she hit the nail on the head on a lot of them. Claps to her. Snaps to her. What do you think?
What's up? Oh, good. That makes perfect sense to me. How about you, Eleanor?
I agree. Like, yeah, she hit everything right on that. Like, and yeah, I mean, as adults, it's hard to get out there and meet people. There's really nowhere that we are except for work, to really meet people. So, if you happen to find someone that you hit it off with, yeah, go for it if you can. Again, like she hit some major things really on the head that, always check with HR to make sure that you can, or if it will cost you your job, you probably don't want to do that. Yeah. And always think that the likelihood is that it won't last. So how are you gonna feel after that? Are you gonna really be like wanting to show up to work if it goes bad? There are a lot of things to think about, but at the same time, if you can be an adult and go for it.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. Helga, talk to us.
Hi.
How do you feel about dating on the job, as far as dating coworkers, relationships, and stuff like that? And we'll hear from you two ladies on the bottom of the screen, and then we're gonna work through these hashtags. DJ DDK in the house. What's up? Sent you an invite if you'd like to come kick it. Go for it, Helga.
Sorry.
Pass that to me so I can take a hit. God damn it. Let's go.
Hold on.
She about to give it to us, boy. Give it this before I told you.
Give me the 3D hit. Shotgun or something. You heard?
If love is available, it shouldn't matter if it is on your job or not. If you are meant to be together, you are meant to be together.
Yes. Take that. I'll take that. I don't got no beef with it. How about you?
How you feel about it?
Me personally?
Your friend, I've seen your friend on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, Helga. I've seen your friend on here before. What's her name one more time? We want to give you a proper introduction.
Chai.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome aboard. And you're gonna have to say something too. You can't just sit there looking nice.
You're on air right now.
I'm agree with Eleanor, Helga, and to Roni. Because it's Corona, you cannot go out, you cannot go to clubs or doesn't matter. But if it is on the where you work, it's not a problem.
Mhm.
Even if it is my boss.
And maybe we can
You go for it.
I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not trying to
we'll
promote.
go for it.
This is my take on this. My take is that I have no problem with it myself. I think it's if the chemistry is there, um, cool. But there's a lot of factors that go into it, right?
Yes.
Now, like the young lady in the video alluded to, there's levels to this shit now, right? You can't just you have to go into every situation like, okay, you have your worst case scenario and your best case scenario, right?
Right.
Worst case scenario is if it doesn't work, you have to work together, right?
Yes.
That's one thing. Okay. You have to take that into consideration because then if you're not seeing each other anymore, like she said, you have to see them whether you like it or not because it's in the same workplace until when you change his jobs, possibly, et cetera, et cetera. So there are a few things that go into it, but me myself, I choose not to participate. I'm not saying I haven't in the past. I've dated on the job before, and luckily there was no issues with it. So that was it was a positive experience for me, but that may not go for everybody. But there's factors that go into this right here. So that's all. You got to be careful. You got to be careful in the game because the worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, right? But then you don't want too much talking going on behind the scenes and too much information. I want to shout out the chat. Big brother Ted Hicks in the house. What's up, Ted Hicks? How you doing? Thank you for joining us. DJ DDK in the house, coming from overseas. So I know at the time, and Helga, you also coming from overseas, so I know it's late or early. So thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Okay. So part two of this segment, right? I want to roll into something that could possibly be one of the, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? This could possibly be one of the most infamous cases of dating on the job gone wrong. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, there's rights, so sometimes it can go left. And we're gonna go into phase two, as in some of the hashtags, some of the things that could actually happen, just in case if things go left. Okay. So I want you guys pay close attention to this. Let me see. Is this one I was looking for? No, this is not the one. I'm looking for this.
He paid.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna roll into this right here, right? This is the most famous on the job going wrong. Let's check it out.
He paid a lot of attention to me. He spent time sort of standing there and held my hand longer than he should have and gave what others have described as the full Bill Clinton. It feels as if you're the only person standing there.
It's the infamous start to an illicit affair.
It's
one that
old,
nearly
but it's real,
toppled the
goddammit.
president.
Let's go.
My
Taking y'all back,
underwear
goddammit.
showing my thong underwear. And I thought, well, I'll up the game.
Monica Lewinsky speaking out about the flirtatious moment that landed her squarely at the center of a White House scandal.
I kind of have to laugh at my younger self, but that was where my crush started.
The unpaid intern and the commander-in-chief.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Now, Lewinsky, a new reckoning with her past in a revealing 6-part docuseries entitled The Clinton Affair, airing on A&E. Front and center, President Clinton's reckless behavior, which almost cost him his presidency. Fresh out of college, Lewinsky catches the eye of the president as he's leaving the White House and goes out of her way to catch it again.
I did this really silly thing. I ran home at lunchtime and I put back on the sage green suit I had been wearing the day before when he paid attention to me. And I thought, well, maybe he'll notice me again. And notice me he did.
Lewinsky, now 45, reflects back on her own naivete, which she says led her to their disastrous liaison.
The truth is that I think it meant more to me that someone who other people desired me. However wrong it was, however misguided for who I was in that very moment at 22 years old, that was how it felt.
In an essay for Vanity Fair, Lewinsky says she took part in the documentary to acknowledge her past behavior, which she still regrets and feels ashamed of. In the era of Me Too, the story of a young intern's entanglement with the most powerful man in the world and its aftermath now examined in a completely new light by director Blair Foster.
There's a real power imbalance here. I don't think you get a greater imbalance between the president of the United States and an intern. She was slut shamed, she was fat shamed.
It was open season on Monica Lewinsky.
100%. It was brutal.
Over the course of 2 years,
Can't
they
make her
had
the
multiple
victim, no.
sexual encounters,
She's not the
engaged
victim.
in phone sex, even exchanging gifts. Amidst all the turmoil, Lewinsky began confiding in an older colleague named Linda Tripp.
When I tell you that I never expected to feel this way about him, and I'm not kidding you.
Unbeknownst to Monica, Tripp started recording phone conversations about every intimate detail,
What a friend.
including a dress Monica believed was stained with the president's semen.
The navy blue dress. Now, all I would say to you is, I know how you feel today, but you have a very long life ahead of you. I would rather you had that in your possession if you need it years from now.
Now, I just want to pause for a second, right? I hate to interrupt the video, but see, this is a classic case of the older woman probably wanted Bill Clinton herself, but she saw the younger woman get Bill Clinton. So what she decided to do is put her nose in the business, record the conversations of somebody that confided in her, because it may have been a case of jealousy, but that's not the point. But I just wanted to put that out there. And we can't make it seem like there's a victim here because we have two consenting adults that decided to participate. I just want to leave it at that, but let's go.
Linda, hi, it's Mommy.
Monica, darling, hold on.
The imbalance of their seeming friendship portrayed on SNL. All while President Clinton is already under a microscope, fighting a lawsuit alleging sexual misconduct. Paula Jones claimed that the then Arkansas governor asked her for a sexual favor while she was a state clerk.
May of 91, Bill Clinton harassed me on the job and then basically told me, let's keep this between ourselves.
Did you ever ask Paula Jones to kiss your penis?
No, I did not.
Paula Jones's attorneys got a tip from an unexpected source, Lewinsky's confidant, Linda Tripp. So with knowledge of the affair, Jones's attorney asked President Clinton about Lewinsky. He lied under oath.
I never had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. I've never had an affair with her.
Bill Clinton handed the sword to his enemies.
In January 1998, he held a press conference, delivering that now notorious proclamation.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
Lewinsky recalls being confronted by FBI agents who threatened her with lengthy jail time for denying the affair, lying under oath in the Paula Jones case. They wanted her to turn against the president, but she refused.
They imagined that I would have flipped really easily. They had no plan in place for what would happen if I said no. There was a point for me somewhere in this sort of first several hours where I would be hysterically crying and then I would just shut down. And in the shutdown period, I remember looking out the window and thinking that the only way to fix this was to kill myself, was to jump out the window. And I felt terrible.
I just made millions instead.
And I was mortified and afraid of what this was going to do to my family. And, you know, I still was in love with Bill at the time. So I felt really responsible.
Lewinsky eventually struck a deal for total immunity. In exchange, she gave up key pieces of evidence, including those gifts from the president and that blue dress, the physical proof of their relationship.
I was going to the White House in the dark of night to take a blood sample from the sitting president of the United States to compare with a semen stain on a dress of a 22-year-old.
President Clinton would undergo impeachment hearings in the fall of 1998.
I don't remember exactly what I did say with her. That's what you say I said.
The prospect of impeachment can never be far from President Clinton's mind these days.
For only the second time in history, the House of Representatives would vote to impeach a president, but the Senate later voted to acquit.
He leaves office with, I think, something along the lines of a 65% approval rating.
But Monica's role in the Clinton affair, forever etched in the memory of the American public, skewered on late-night shows.
Bill, you already said you had no sexual relationship with Monica.
And hounded by the press.
I think we're learning more and more right now, too, in the Me Too movement around people in power, just how reckless they act.
Earlier this year, Mr. Clinton was asked about the scandal by NBC.
I asked if you'd ever apologized, and you said you had.
I have.
You've apologized to her.
I apologize to everybody in the world.
But you didn't apologize to her, at least.
I have a question here. What is he apologizing for? Initially saying he didn't do it, I would assume that's what he should be apologizing for. Because other than that, the act was probably, I would say, between two consenting adults. So I think he may have caused damage to her by saying he didn't do it, and that brought a lot of heat on her. That's my say. I don't know what he's asking him to apologize for.
At least according to folks that we've talked to, there was never an apology.
I have not talked to her.
Do you feel like you owe her an apology?
No, I do. I do not. I have never talked to her, but I did say publicly on more than one occasion that I was sorry.
And then just last month, Hillary Clinton was asked by CBS if time had changed her opinion.
And in retrospect, do you think Bill should have resigned, President Clinton should have resigned in the 90s in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal?
Absolutely not.
So it wasn't an abuse of power.
No.
Despite the re-examination that Me Too may have brought, Lewinsky still contends that it hasn't come far enough for her. Writing in that essay for Vanity Fair, what feels more important to me than whether I am owed or deserving of a personal apology is my belief that Bill Clinton should want to apologize. I'm less disappointed by him and more disappointed for him. He would be a better man for it, and we, in turn, a better society.
Monica apologizes to both Hillary and Chelsea. I mean, I think she's deeply remorseful. Monica has always been very upfront about this was a consensual affair and her regret in that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
No, George. So let's get into this, damn it. Let's talk about this right here. Let's bring some people back up. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Let's see who's missing. We got Helga. You guys gotta come up here too. Boom. Where you guys at? Let's see. Then we're gonna bring this back up. Damn. Let's dive into this right here. Now I know I have my little commentary in between, and I'm gonna get smoked, but I don't give a shit. God damn it. We talking about an adult, right? So he didn't force anything on anybody because this apparently went on for over a year. So let's talk about the most infamous real quick, because this is old news and shit, but it still relates to the topic, obviously. That's when it goes wrong. So let's talk about the work husband / work wife. We have a lot of people that go to work, right? And I'm gonna roll into this first. We have a lot of people. I have a background career in manufacturing, for example. Okay, so I've worked in various manufacturing environments. To break it down in simple terms, it would say you work in a factory where you have production going and they're making things, and you have a bunch of men and women working 40 hours together. There are relationships that go on, and then you would see that there's a quote unquote, you see that people like each other, right? So whether they're in a relationship or not, they'll be deemed as quote unquote the work husband or the work wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys familiar with what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the work husband. Like they always eat lunch together, and you see them hanging out, kicking it, and all that other good ish. Anthony Davis, I'm gonna pull you up. You're gonna talk about it, not me. You can make it hot. Let me bring you up. You're invited. So as I was saying, yeah, you got the work husband, the work husband, the work wife. So that goes on. That's normal. You know what I mean? That's I won't say it's normal behavior for two individuals that are already committed in a relationship outside already. Now, there's a difference if you are single and you're pursuing a relationship with one of your coworkers, and if you're already quote unquote married outside of the job or not. So there's levels to this shit. Ronnie, talk to me. Where we at with this?
Okay, so I got two parts of this. So first part is talking about Miss Lewinsky, Mrs. Lewinsky. I actually read her book. I don't know if anybody else had read her book. It was very, very detailed in how she felt about the whole scenario.
Tell us.
And she herself admitted that she was just after a man with power in the beginning because she had an affair with another senator from California, where she was from, right? She was from California, place, and she had an affair with that person. And then she actually fell in love with Clinton.
Okay.
Huh?
I said a lot of people didn't know about the senator. The story.
Oh, okay, yes. So, it's a lot of details in her book. It's very good if you get a chance to read it. And the lady was right. Monica Lewinsky from start has been very upfront. Her thing was she loved this man, and she couldn't see anything else outside of loving. Like, this was their relationship. She was a young girl, and in her mind, this was not, oh, I'm dating a married man. In her mind, it was, this is me. We're dating.
Time out. Let me just stop you. Is that the mind of a logical, rational thinking individual? And no disrespect to the women on the panel. I know that it's a stereotype that females think with emotion. This is a general stereotype that men talk about behind closed doors, behind you guys' backs. So do you think it was the case that she thought emotionally, knowing that, listen, this is the president, number one, and he's married. You're not going to have a relationship with this man, goddammit. The same thing with the senator. So let's not fucking be stupid. But that's how she felt. So let's continue, Ronnie. I'm sorry.
You're great, because at the age of 20, but in me reading her book, what I got was that she didn't think about that. What started off with something that was supposed to be a fling for her turned into a full-blown romance for her at 22. So you have to imagine, what does she know? What can she compare this to? She couldn't compare it to anything else because she didn't really have any really strong, she had her parents, but you have to learn what through trial and error, what's a great romance and what's a wrong romance. I don't think she in her head saw it as this is a married man. She didn't see it as this is a man who's the president of the United States.
What did you see it as? A young man her age? Come on. And this is not a dump. This is not a dump on Miss Lewinsky. This is not, no disrespect, man. This is not a dump on Miss Lewinsky show, but we can't listen. Those are her own words in her book, what she's telling people, right? And I'm just saying, some books are not even written by the actual people. They give some information and somebody else actually writes the book. I'm not saying that happened in this instance, but what I'm saying is this. We can't make it seem like this was normal behavior for a rational thinking individual, just kind of thinking, well, I thought it was a romance and I thought this and I thought that. Yeah. That's your excuse. Even though you accept accountability for it, you're still flagging, you're still pushing the accountability away and saying, well, my feelings, this is how I felt. I'm just saying, this is not a Drag Miss Lewinsky show. But that makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. The second part. I'm just sorry, and it's not a debate because this is an opinion radio show. It's not a debate. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As far as the work husband and work wife, I actually, I had a ex-work husband, I guess, so to speak.
Literally, I meant just as in a joke, like they're
yes, as in a joke. The reason why he was my ex-husband, my work husband.
Oh, literally.
Huh?
I said your literal husband. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, he was not my literal husband. He was my work husband. So there's okay. So I'm not talking about my ex-husband.
No. You talking about but I got confused.
Hashtag work husband. So and he became my ex-work husband because I had moved to another job. So when I was there, he became my work husband because I had to help him a lot. So it was like we were always together. And he was married, he had kids. His wife understood that I was helping him almost a lot. You know, even though we had two separate areas, we were both in two separate silos as far as I guess departments. But I had to like kind of help coax him. And then we would end up talking about different things, right? And me showing him different things, work related. I would, you know, we would have these really in-depth conversations, and it wasn't like I was attracted to him or he was attracted to me or anything like that. It was just because we could just go, we became very good friends at the end. So that's probably why he was the work husband. And the work wife, my work wife was the same way. Me and her, we actually worked in the same
wife and a work husband, because you really cheating on everybody. You can't have a boyfriend at home, a husband, a work husband, and a work wife, and you ain't get the nasty with not named.
You have to do everything.
Work husband is classified as nasty if it's going down. Not if you're just helping him work and he ain't even cutting you a check or buying lunch. God damn it!
It became this thing wherever when my name was mentioned, her name was mentioned. It became like, okay, well, we know we got to go with each other. Let's just go, right? Like it.
Work wife.
So yeah, it's the manager's fault. It wasn't my fault.
The manager's promoting this kind of behavior. Oh my God, Eleanor, what you got on this? I'm just saying.
Yeah. What part now?
I'm sorry.
Listen, it's all good. Nah, I mean, that was a lot to unpack right there, Roni.
That was too much to unpack.
Anthony Davis in the house. I forgot to say it, y'all. Look, I didn't forget to introduce my boy. Oh boy.
That was soap opera drama stuff.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, you got me all fucking. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I'm confused by all of it. Yeah, it was the clip and everything with the whole like them bringing up the Me Too. It obviously sounds like she was very much just as much in it as he was. Like, so I don't get how she was.
She admitted it though. She said she admitted it that she was also thingy, but it's
Yeah, but they just start bringing it up. That has nothing to do with that. Like, they shouldn't even be talking about Me Too. That's BS.
Exactly, because she was down with it. Exactly.
Yeah, she was on board. Like she, you know, and I don't, you know, he might have been a person in power, but like she said, she wanted to get with a person in power. Like she was seeking someone in power out. So.
Yeah, that was her thing.
Yeah, she wasn't a victim there, and
no.
You know, even at 22, I mean, you have to be smart. If you're, you know, old enough to be an adult in an adult environment at work and everything, don't get involved with people that are married. Like, you know, like use our head. It's just never gonna lead to something good. Like, you know, that's the wrong kind of. If you're gonna get in a relationship at work, don't do it with someone already in a relationship. Like, it seems logical.
Was that part of the 10? Was that part of the 10 rules? No, they were married. At the 11.
She only gave 6. You know what? That's my bad. We should have, as a panel, we should have rounded out the last, let's see, 6 and 5 make 11. We should have just slapped 5 more in there. So, Eleanor, you just dropped like 2 more.
You just dropped 1, yeah.
Right, Roni, also you dropped 1 too, right? Because if you're not really getting down, you're not really considered a work husband or work wife unless you're seeing each other outside of work. Okay. All right. So, Eleanor, do you have more on that real quick? Did I cut
that was really it. Yeah.
Because we're working our way around. Helga, it's back on you. Before you spark up. we filibuster. We gave enough time to get you. You know what I mean?
No worries.
How you feel about that work wife? What's good?
In my broadcast, before my broadcast, Chai and I discussed exactly this.
All right, let's go. Spill the bean, spill the tea.
And Bill Clinton supposed to know better.
Of course.
Oh!
We know that.
But this is just a bit of Bill Clinton that we know.
Right.
There is
Someone else
much
came
more.
forward. Yeah, the other woman came forward also. So there was definitely some stuff
Oh,
going
there is
on.
much more than the woman who can talk.
Okay.
But that's all I have to say about it.
Keep it
Oh,
going.
that
We gotta
is
keep this
more
going.
women. Whew.
Nah, we got AD in the house. Talk to us.
I don't really have a lot to say about this because I didn't see the whole document.
But hold on, let me
but
start. Let me fill you in. Let me backfill you in, AD, real quick. Anthony Davis in the house, everybody. Frida Gillespie, what's up? Ted Hicks, what's up,
Hey,
y'all?
Frida.
Let me just shout out the chat real quick, and we're gonna keep this rocking. Who else did I miss? I missed somebody else. JB, your Renaissance. No, your Resonance. JB, your Resonance, I guess. Resonance? I don't know. Hello from Skane. All right, let's go. All right, so AD, where we were talking about close encounters, sleeping with coworkers. Okay, so in the beginning we had a clip, and these were like the 6 do's and don'ts if you're dating someone on the job that you totally missed. But these were just her commandments, but they were pretty much on point. And then the Bill Clinton um footage, that was just a real quick clip talking about when dating on the job goes wrong, and that was the most famous in the nation, one of the most famous cases of when dating on a job goes wrong. So how do you feel about
I
dating
wouldn't
on
say
the
so.
job?
I wouldn't say that's the most famous, but it
One
goes
of
right up
one
there
of
in
us
the
said.
top. It
Mhm.
goes right up there in the top because what I was getting ready to say
Mhm.
is, when this Monica Lewinsky scandal was going on, I was surprised when I saw the little clip, and I'm like, wow, she's 2 years younger than I am. So,
I saw that in the chat.
that was kind of scary right there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm 47, she's 45.
But listen, that was years ago.
That's but I grew up the whole thing, and this stuff doesn't just happen in politics. It happens in Hollywood. It happens in religion. I'll go off on the religion stuff.
Go for it.
In
Go for it.
religion,
Go for it.
you had the PTL guy Jim Baker
Mhm.
with his antics and sex antics.
Mhm.
Jimmy Swaggart,
Mhm.
Jerry Falwell,
Jeff Warren.
W.V. Grant. Oh God,
Jeff Warren was on the FBI most wanted list.
About every single televangelist had their own sex scandal of some kind,
Mhm.
and SNL went with it, and
Mhm.
they blended them
Axe.
together.
Get 'em.
Who was that guy who just got out of Hollywood? Who started the whole Me Too movement?
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey.
Harvey Weinstein.
Mhm. Mhm.
That was the whole start of it,
Mhm.
and this is nothing new under the sun at
Nope.
all.
Nope.
And I'm sure if you think about it, this happens in everyday life. It's just because of the way that Hollywood is and the way entertainment is. Big names get thrown out there more than the everyday, Joe Blow. And so, I do have to say that when I was able to work
Mhm.
back in the 90s, I
Mhm.
did work one job for about a year and a half, and I
Mhm.
worked in a warehouse. And the third rule of on their little pamphlet they had
Mhm.
was interpersonal relationships in the
Mhm.
office was
Mhm.
prohibited.
Uh,
That was
Okay.
the third rule on there. Now they understood that I made a good friend with somebody, and we did stuff together. It wasn't a girl, it was a guy, but
Mhm.
and there was some friendships made and stuff. But as far as flirting and that kind of stuff, that was no, no. And if you were caught even just sexually looking at somebody across the room, you would get written up or even fired. I mean, one guy I know who worked
Damn.
there, one guy I know, he almost got fired because he was flirting with a temp who worked there for a while. And I'm like, oh God. So
Not a good idea.
I'm like, wow. So
Mm.
that's about all I have to really say about it. Is this is nothing new under the sun. It's been going on since forever.
Ages.
Facts.
Forever.
Now you're right now, and that was a good look. That's why when I saw you jump in the chat, I was like, I got to get you up here on that because that's a whole nother level. The televangelists scandals, those were brutal too. The reason why I just mentioned Clinton because he was like, as far as on a worldly scale, the president is pretty much the free leader of the world, pretty much the leader of the free world. Shall I reiterate that?
Son, you got to keep in
But
mind all this was
but
going on
everything
during
else,
the 90s.
facts, and yep.
All this was going on during the 90s, pretty much
Mhm.
pre-internet, or
Mhm.
the internet as we know today.
Right.
Was the internet,
Yes. It was just beginning. It was a baby back
it
then.
was,
Mhm.
it was just beginning.
And
And
the war on drugs was coming to it. Well, not an
And
end, but
yeah, it was wrapping up. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, definitely standstill.
And so this whole thing was pretty much a put into place at a time that was like, hey, we got nothing better to do, so let's just put this in here for to keep people distracted from everything else. And then also I also believe, now I'm looking back at this stuff with everything that's going on now with the Me Too movement and the Black Lives Matter and everything else.
Mhm.
This was just a precursor of all that's going on now, and it was just pretty much a setup.
Mhm.
So who knows where we're going from Bill Clinton to Me Too, Black Lives Matter to God knows where we're going. What's next?
Don't forget COVID.
Oh, and COVID.
That too. Facts. Phone lines open. Phone lines are open. 515-602-9602. As we proceed. Yes. Now let's talk about human resources now, right? Because it's not because Anthony, you mentioned one of your coworkers like years back kind of got into hot water with human resources.
Oh yeah.
Now
he was a pretty flirty guy. I mean, he was a pretty flirty guy anyway.
big up to the flirty guys in the building, goddamn it. Keep flirting. Well, no,
big up
not
to the
today.
flirty guy.
Not today. Well, if you score in the end, yes. But if you don't,
which is really scary for him because I thought he looked like Gomez Adams. So I'm like, oh my god,
that's my boy. I like Gomez Adams. But check it out. So human resources. Let's talk about human resources. Okay. Now, human resources can pull the plug on you. All right. If you're reported, I guess 1 or 2 or how many ever times, whatever the company policy is for quote unquote sexual harassment. Okay. So you can't be the flirty guy at work if you intend on still working. Okay. You can't be the flirty guy. You just gotta come in and take care of your business and don't shit where you eat because HR could jam you up. Because you could be in a situation where you become intimately involved with another coworker, right? And for some reason it doesn't work out, whether one person is being untruthful to the other, saying I'm not married, but you're married, or saying I'm not this, but I'm not. Whatever the case is, in the quote unquote fling or relationship falls apart. We live in a society today, and this is nothing against the ladies, but we live in a society today in America where it only takes someone to give allegations, okay? And your goose is cooked. And there could be, and there's a possibility that these could be unfounded. This could be a total lie, actually. Somebody that doesn't like you could actually go to HR and says, well, he said this, or we have quote unquote ogling, okay? Ogling, okay, is if you're looking too long at a person. So say you're a man and you're at work and you see a nice looking lady, like these ladies on the panel, and you just can't stop looking. Like, damn, that's looking nice, right? That's called ogling, okay? So you don't even have to say a single word. You could just look too long and you're in trouble. All right. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind also. So there can definitely be some fake results, some fake reports, like some of the fake rape, like the Duke lacrosse team, fake rape. In the end of the day, these guys lost their education, their career, their futures got destroyed. It turned out to be fake. And did she get any jail time? No. Right. So we got to worry. We got to be cautious about some of these quote unquote fake allegations that could go on, because right now we live in a climate where somebody could actually say, you know what? Ace World squeezed my booty back in the first grade. Right? And then all of a sudden you won't see Sunday Night Smoke podcast anymore. Because when I was 10 years old, I did something I shouldn't have done. So should there be a statute of limitations on this kind of thing? As far as Me Too, like should there be a cutoff limit? Like for example, right? Me Too. We're not gonna go all the way with the and we're gonna call it grape, G, and you spell the rest, right? Because we're not gonna use that word because that fucks up the algorithm. Okay. So Me Too, right? And we're not talking on the level of grape, right? But we're talking about just on the level of well, he like say Cuomo style. Well, he gave me a kiss on my cheek and said you're beautiful in Italian. Okay, that may that may to some constitute as sexual harassment, right? Am I right or wrong? Because that's what that was one of the females said that about him. So as a man, we have to be very careful. So all the men out there that are listening, you have to be very, very careful about how you conduct yourself on the work floor, because it could cost you your job. Women is different because let me give you one more thing.
No.
Go for it. Get it.
Terry Crews was part of the Me Too movement, and he came out and did suggest that there was a woman who was a woman or a guy, I don't know.
That was a man, Roni.
Okay. I thought it was
men on men. This is men stuff. So when it's men stuff, we always gonna hit the hot seat. But I'm just saying, in the event that if it was a female, right? Of course, HR has no choice but to go through the same things. But I haven't seen very few men. But there are some young boys that are coming forward, because some young boys are being the teachers are giving it up now. God damn it, the teachers are giving it up. Where were they back in the day? Good Lord. I could get some and get an A. I could get an A and get some. Jesus. Right? So you're seeing teachers get prosecuted for this. But as far as regular workers, like say the Walmart chick, yeah, women do the same too. Desiree, you're right. Shout out Desiree Mathis in the chat room. Women, the same thing, right? So, but it seems like you're hearing more, and I guess it's more so being reported by the women, because it's a turn on if a guy looks good to you that's flirting with you. If you're a female, and ladies, you tell me if I'm right or wrong. If the guy is attractive, or the woman is attractive, right? Depending on what sex you're interested in, that's flirting with you, it's acceptable. If they're unattractive, it becomes harassment. God damn it! So let's cut the fine line against this. Talk to me, ladies. Am I right or wrong? Starting with you, Roni. What do you think about that? If he's sexy, is it harassment still?
Wrong. Next.
Okay, so for example, if I was sexy and I was flirting with you at work, right? Is that harassment? Or if we have a mutual attraction to one another, is that harassment? Or is that just, well, he's cute and I'm cute and we're just two cute people flirting, right? But if it's Bigfoot, right? And he smells like he's been living in the forest all his life and he's not looking too good and he's trying to flirt with you the same way that I am, is it still? But then sometimes it could become harassment. That's all I'm saying. So it's all in the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, which is understandable.
But that's not about beauty. That's about harassment. You're talking about harassment.
How does he know he's job? Talk to me. Go ahead.
If the job characterizes the two beautiful people flirting with each other as harassment, then yes, it is wrong if the two beautiful people harass each other versus and if the ugly, I guess per se,
Bigfoot. Just say Bigfoot.
Bigfoot and the beautiful person flirt with each other, it's still harassment. It's still for one. Now, if we're talking about on the job, it's
Yes.
whatever the legal requirements are. But if I'm talking about on the street, because the street
Job.
harassment is a whole
This is
different
only workplace. We're only talking workplace in this
Okay, so
conversation.
workplace, yes, it's wrong. Even if two beautiful people talk to each other, that is considered legally harassment.
It's only legally harassment if somebody reports it, is what I'm saying.
No, if it's on the
pretty boy
job.
doesn't get
If it's
reported
on-
on the job.
If it happens on the job, if it happens at 9 o'clock at night during
On the job only. We're only talking the job. Let's keep
No,
it in
no,
the
no.
workplace.
Wait, this is what I'm saying. Because,
Okay.
there's job functions that happen. Let's say you go to happy hour and it's a job related function. If it's happy hour that was supported by the job and there's flirting going on, that's harassment. But if it's a happy hour that was not job supported, this is just everybody meeting together, doing whatever they want, then that's flirting. As long as it happens on the job, if it happens there, then yes, the two beautiful people, it is considered harassment.
Okay, I just wanted to clear something up. Happy hour is 2 girls for the price of 1. Okay, I want to you always keep fucking that up. You fuck up the happy hour thing. Okay, but you missed my entire you missed the entire basket with that shot. I'm talking about
No, that's the rule.
no, time out.
Work.
We was talking about work, right? Even though happy hour could have been sponsored by work, that's fine. You was in the ballpark with that. You was on the parquet floor with that. But I was talking about if the unattractive guy flirts with you, he gets reported. If the attractive guy flirts with you, he scores. That's what I'm talking about. It's only harassment if he gets reported. So okay. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that because we going, yeah. It's not a debate. Now remember, it's not a debate. This is opinion radio, damn it. We all got one. So this is where we put it out. Anybody else want to jump in as far as the ugly guy or the ugly girl that's at me is harassing me, but the pretty one gets the goodie bag? Like, what are we doing with this? You know what I'm saying? All right, Des. All good, Des. Relax, enjoy. Anybody want to jump on that? Go ahead.
Well, there is something to say about.
Go for it.
There is something to say about sexual harassment versus communication and personal relationships, and also just how you greet each other and stuff. And it kind of falls into it. Just probably about let's say about 15% of what I'm talking about here. In some cultures they do say in order to greet somebody you greet them with a kiss. In some cultures you greet them with a hug. A hug and a kiss. And so you have the little fine line there between is it just me being overly friendly or me being just harassing?
Customary.
Is it a custom or is it thing? So you kind of have to use some common sense there, especially whenever you realize it's just a cultural difference or something like that. But if it goes way too far, then you have to kind of say that's a bit too far to the point of that's demeaning, degrading, belittling, harassing activity on somebody's part.
Facts. Now you gotta now fellas, now listen, it's just me and AD, Anthony Davis. It's me and AD in the building trying to hold it down for the fellas. Now, fellas, you gotta pay close attention to what the ladies are saying and what's being said here. We don't want you to get jammed up, okay? And most jobs have what we call training every year. Or every something they'll give you what we call sexual harassment training. Okay. And what they'll do is they'll lay out the rules and regulations, the do's and don'ts. Okay. Some companies totally go against some companies will say, listen, we discourage inter-workplace relationships. Okay. Like AD alluded to earlier. I've worked in places before that That is a policy, like we're strongly against. But strange enough, I've also worked in a place that they said, well, listen, if you two become an item, come to HR and tell us. So if y'all break up, there's no bullshit in the back end. And I'm dead ass. I'm straight up and down. Yep, there was they said, listen, if you become an item, we encourage you to come and you have to come and let us know you're dating, because if this goes left, okay, we're not going to, because then one person could come. And I think that's probably a good policy to adopt. So any HR representatives that are out there listening, it's probably a good idea to look into adding that to your policy. So one thing doesn't sway either to one direction or the other. If your company does allow dating in the workplace, let the couples be announced in HR. So when ish hits the fan, right, ain't no bullshit going on. Hey, well, he did this and that. And then next thing you know, he's on the edge because I gotta, listen, I gotta stick up for the brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because the sisters, y'all live. You know what I mean? And it's cool because most of the time the harassment is, I'm gonna say most stuff because I don't have the stats in front of me, but I guess there's a percentage of the time that the harassment will be looked at more because men are more, what I would say, possibly physically intimidating, or men are more aggressive, or it's a man. He's after me. He's trying to get some. So, I kind of wanted to put that out there. But we're gonna roll around with any closing comments. Like we're gonna roll around. Roni, we're gonna jump back on with you. Did I miss anybody? Helga, did we miss you in the second time around? Did we miss you, your friend? Did we miss you guys? I'm terrible with names. Yes, I'm horrible with names. You guys want to add anything else to this? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Anything that you've seen or heard today? Any comments on your feelings, perspectives, all of that good stuff?
Zoals die persoon een good looking guy
Yeah.
was, I think if
Moet harder praten, denk ik.
if it is a good looking guy or a bad looking guy, I think you can you can talk to the person yourself
Yes.
and tell the person to back off.
Politely decline.
Yeah.
Just say I'm not interested. That's it,
Yes.
right? Instead
That's
of going to HR. That's an idea.
Yeah.
If you're not intimidated by the individual, possibly say, listen, well, I'm not interested. Or just say I have somebody already. That's the universal excuse for you ladies to kick us to the curb, to tell us no thanks, to give us the shoot down.
That or so.
I'll be like, what's up? How you doing? I got somebody. All right, see you later. You know what I'm saying?
I have an advice for the guys.
Go for it. Let us know what we're doing wrong.
Just look at the body language of the woman, if she is interested or not.
Facts. The problem is a lot of gentlemen don't know how to read body language. That's a special skill. So I want you guys that are listening, if you don't know how to read body language, listen to Red Pill Radio and tune into Red Pill Wednesdays. We're trying to educate these men and try to keep them in line, keep them from getting in trouble, keep them from doing the wrong thing, and listening to how things are right now. Just that's a shameless plug.
And stop thinking with your dick.
There you go. Think with the big head, not the little one, for Christ's sakes.
You
Let's
have
go.
brains to think, but not your dick.
Exactly. Think with your dick when you go to the bar. But not all right? If you're not a porn star getting paid, don't think with your dick while the clock is running. All right? Don't think with your dick while you're on the clock.
Okay, I speak from a woman perspective because in my case, in this lifetime, I choose for men. But this doesn't mean that it is only for men. It could also be in mutual relationships.
Yep.
Do I say the right word?
Yeah. We get what you're saying. Go for it. Same thing. So ladies and gentlemen, both take heed to these words, in other words, right? Helga, where can we find you? Social media wise, how can we follow your channel? Where you at with it? Let us know.
I'm on Haps. coworkers.tv.
Okay. Let's do
Play
it.
that's it.
Yeah. Put y'all links out, guys. Let us know where y'all at so we can follow y'all. Cause I was looking at one earlier. The people wake up. The open your eyes, people. Yeah. I sent you a little message on that. A little coin on
thank
that
you.
because that was lovely.
Thank you.
I'm on it. I'm watching you, damn it. I'm watching you. I can't say too much, but I'm watching from a distance. Hella in the building. All right, Eleanor, talk to us. Closing comments, concerns, reviews.
Oh no, I think it's all been said.
Cool. Where can we find you?
You can find me here on Hats at Crooked Muse _ ELE. And then from there, all of my links are in my bio.
That's what it is. Eleanor Marie, y'all. AD, Anthony Davis, talk to us.
Yeah.
What you up to? Where can we find you?
Well, pretty much I agree with Eleanor. Pretty much everything's been said that can be said here. But to find me, you can find me at various places on the net. Hold on a second. Find me at various places on the net. You can find me on
Tell us all
on YouTube at Liz Truthmate